That account, get this, up 450% in terms of the number of followers since mid-June. And it's not just on Twitter, X, where Newsom is gaining. Even on TikTok and Instagram, his followers are up over 1 million since January alone. My goodness gracious. And more than that, Laura, more than that, what about Google? What about those Google searches for him? Get this, daily Google searches for Gavin Newsom up like a rocket. What are we talking about? Since June 1, up 1,300%. Compared to August 1st, look at that, up 500%. So the bottom line is, in politics, especially if you're thinking of entering in 2028, it's all about generating attention. And so far, Gavin Newsom has done a good job at generating attention.
He's a nice guy, looks good. Hi, everybody. How you doing? You have an incompetent governor in California, Gavin. I know him very well. He's incompetent. He's a nice guy, looks good. Hi, everybody. How you doing? He's got some strange hand action going. I don't know what the hell his problem is. It's a little weird, to be honest. There's a little something shaky going on there. But, you know, all he has to do is call me and say, we have the Olympics coming up. We want to make it really good and safe. And I'll put some really good, great American patriots in there, and you won't have any problems. Don't forget, it's loaded up with some stone-cold killers. So.
He is weak. He's weakness masquerading as strength. And that makes him more dangerous than most people believe.
Look, I want to talk to you about Gavin Newsom's cringe social media strategy. I think it's backfiring. I mean, he clearly wants to be the next president of the United States, but his social media strategy is just bizarre. He's trying to mimic Donald Trump. He's also selling merchandise with caps that say Newsom was right about everything, which is a bit of a joke. T-shirts that say Trump is not hot. You know, I think he should really be coming up with a better way to communicate than that. But you've even got Democrats, such as former DNC chair Donna Brazile, slamming Gavin Newsom for this strategy. Of course, his podcast is still up and running. And in his latest episode, he interviewed Democrat spokeswoman Jasmine Crockett. Listen to what she had to say.
And to be clear, you can wave all the flags you want to, but I am telling you right now that the most unpatriotic people that we have in this country are MAGA and this president. We are the real patriots, and it is time for us to take our flag back.
Emily, after the election last year, Gavin Newsom said that he wanted to learn where the Democrats, where they went wrong. And he spoke about essentially wanting to potentially win people back over. But this social media strategy of his and the podcast that he has, I don't think that's the way to do it. It also comes at a time while Democrats are facing a massive voter registration crisis.
Yeah, a huge voter registration crisis. They are now in quite a hole, as the New York Times documented last week. I totally had the same instinct as you, and I put that question to a Republican strategist I know last week, like, what is he doing? And the person made a really good point and said, basically, he's cleaning up in fundraising and name recognition. So for the early shadow Democratic presidential primary that's going on right now, which, by the way, is not Gavin Newsom's full-time job. He is, of course, the governor of one of the largest economies in the entire world. But he's also podcasting and, overseeing this weird social media campaign. That is something that may actually help him start getting donors and email lists and name recognition with Democratic primary voters. Now, of course, that's not what most people in California would say they want their governor to be doing right now. And it's not a winning strategy in a general election, that's for sure. If Gavin Newsom were running like this in 2028, if he secured the Democratic primary against someone like J.D. Vance, it would not be working for Gavin Newsom. But now, if he's looking to just get his name out there, I guess no press is bad press for Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, I think he needs to go back to running California. I think California needs a lot of help, especially after those fires at the start of the year. The unemployment numbers are crazy. You've got the homelessness crisis. There are so many issues in California that I think Gavin Newsom should get back to work as opposed to hosting this podcast. But hey, let's keep following what he does. Finally, Hollywood star Chris Pratt has blasted these far-left lunatics who hate Donald Trump so much that they cannot celebrate any of his achievements. Listen to this.
I'd hate to be so mired in hatred for the president that any success from his administration is something I'd have an allergic reaction to. To be like, oh, well, if they do it, I don't want it to happen. I'll put Clorox in my children's cereal myself. It's like, come on, be reasonable here. There's certain things that would be a good thing to have. I want them all to be successful.
He makes a good point, because that's what we're seeing at the moment. The Democrats are fighting anything Donald Trump does, even if it's good for the country.
Yeah, Chris Pratt would know. He married into the Kennedy family and probably gets his dose of that at family meals and Thanksgiving and holidays and such, where, even Robert F. Kennedy Jr., someone who has family, New York Magazine has a profile out right now on why the Kennedys have been so averse to celebrating legitimate wins by someone who is actually a member of their own family. And it's not just them, of course. That's illustrative of a broader problem on the left. And it didn't just come with Donald Trump. This is a problem that Americans had been dealing with as polarization increased in the last 10 to 20 years before Trump even. And hey, I mean, Trump just poured gasoline on the fire. We all got to see very clearly that the left was no longer able to celebrate the wins of the right if they happen. And even if, by the way, Donald Trump is not a typical Republican, even if they're the types of things that Democrats talked about for a very long time, even if they're actual ideological strains from the left, the left won't celebrate it anymore. So it's a strange time in America, that's for sure.
Emily Jashinsky, host of After Party with Emily Jashinsky on MK Media. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.